Today on the Matt and Ant Show, we welcome four-time Pro Bowler Jeff Garcia. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Hey, thanks, Matt and Ant, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys, Matt. I love that you're representing the Philly people right there. Ant, I don't know about you, man. We got to get you a new sweatshirt, brother.
So let's get right into it. Let's get into the elephant in the room. We all know about it. It's been everywhere. The Mina story from last week. What you said. Would you like to comment on that? And is there anything you want to say about it, basically? I'll let you have the floor here.
Well, I mean, hey, people love to run with fire, right? People love controversy in the media. That's what creates energy, excitement, a following. What I said to Mina had nothing to do with her being a woman, okay? When the feed came across my Instagram through a 49er fan page, I believe it was 49er Focus, one of those fan pages that I follow, being a 49er guy myself, and I saw the interview, and it wasn't so much about the critique of Jimmy, okay? People are going to critique Jimmy. That's what the media is going to do. They're going to critique what any professional athlete or what anybody does. They're going to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
But when you start to demean someone for their talents, when you start to minimize their ability and their contribution to the team, that's where I have a problem. And that's why I stated, until you've been there yourself, you have really no idea what it takes to really compete at that highest level, to be an elite athlete, to be one of the best at what you do in the world, okay? There are 32 starting quarterbacks in the world. He's one of those guys. Now, you're going to have your lovers, you're going to have your haters. And there's a way to critique, but yet still be professional about it. I can look at Jimmy and I could say, hey, there are 4 or 5 plays a game that you can't make, man. You can't afford to put your team in that sort of position. You got to be better with some decision-making at critical times. You have to be better with your accuracy. You have to be better when the game is on the line of doing the right thing. You can make a critique that's professional and classy, but when you start to say, hey, the team's got an A grade and this guy's just along for the ride, they're winning in spite of what he's failing at, so to speak, well, then I have a problem with that. And it's not just one guy. I'm speaking out or projecting for all professional athletes. Hey, we realize we're in a small little basically window or on an island or a focal point, right? And people are going to have their opinions. That's why as a player, when I was going through that, whether good or bad, I would not drink the poison. And that's what we called it. Hey, don't drink the poison. In order for me to keep my mental focus, my mind in the game and directed in the right place, because, hey, we're all human. We all have emotions. We all respond to certain things in different ways, but it was important for me to just keep my head on straight, not look right or left as far as what was being said on this side, being said on that side. Hey, just stay focused. Hey, I have respect for women in sport. I have respect for Mina being in front of the world, in front of the sports world on ESPN and giving her comments and critiquing and analyzing and having an opinion. My main thing was like, hey, just respect the game, respect the players. We could all see through watching TV what players need to improve, what players need to be more consistent, what players are awesome and off the charts. Hey, we all can see that, whether you've played the game or not. But don't make fun of someone as to how they're playing or belittle someone. And I just thought that that's where my comments were coming from. And it could have been Steve, Tom, Mike, whoever else could have said it, and I would have said the same exact thing. It just so happened that where the feed came through, it was her, and I responded. And then somebody, of course, wants to see that and spread it and put it out there and say, oh, look what Jeff Garcia said. And then all the defenders, all of the haters want to come out of the closet and start, hey, casting stones. All good. Hey, whatever. If that's what creates some hype and some energy and excitement, more power to them if that's how they want to be. But you know what? I don't know an apology to anyone. I don't know an apology to Mina. Heck, the media can sit there and criticize, critique individual players. Hey, they had an off night shooting the basketball. Oh, he was terrible. But they do it unapologetically. Do they ever apologize? No, because we're the athletes, we're the pros, so we're putting ourselves out there, and you could say whatever the hell you want about us and not feel bad about it. But when we respond, when we say something, oh, hey, gosh, they're all fired up. They got a problem with the media. No, it's not about that. But just, hey, have respect for each other. We allow you to be in our locker rooms, to be a part of what we do as a team, to be there. Hey, there's women in the locker rooms. There's men in the locker rooms. There's who know what in the locker rooms now. Okay, nobody's denied locker room access, but that's our little house. That's what should be our sanctuary. But now we've opened the doors up to everyone to be a part of it. And is that fair to us as players? Not necessarily, but hey, people want access. People want to know what's going on. People want to know what it's all about. So, hey, they've gotten the access. All I'm saying is, hey, just show the respect. We're expected to respect you guys. We're expected to, answer questions after a tough loss when we don't want to talk to anyone at that time. But we get up there and, swallow some pride and take the hit. So, you know what? Take the hit. It was what it was. I took it. I had to take it, and I'm not living in it. I'm not dwelling in it. I'm not festering in the crap. It stinks, if you know what I mean. Crap stinks. So I'm moving on, man. I'm moving on. All right.
Well, we want to thank you so much for answering that. And we got a whole bunch more questions to ask you. Obviously, was one other story this week. Probably the greatest player of all time retired. Can you give us memories of, I don't know if you ever got the chance to play against him or hang out with him, but can you give us your opinion on him retiring and memories you have of Tom?
What's crazy is I never had one game, an actual game where he and I were on the field at the same time. I believe there was a season where I may have been injured with one of the teams that I was with, and we played the Patriots, but I was not on the field. I played against Tom in a preseason game, but hey, it was preseason, didn't count. What I witnessed in Tom Brady throughout his career was, first of all, a player with so much class and respect for the game, okay? He plays with a chip on his shoulder. It probably was contributed that he was not drafted higher, but it is what it is. Hey, I wasn't drafted at all. So, it was fuel to my fire, just like it was fuel to his fire. What a great leader on the field and in the locker room and in the community. He takes it to all aspects of his life. The ultimate team player. He's looking out for his guys, the guys that he was teammates with. He wanted the best for, and he wanted to represent that in his own personal approach to the game. He didn't always need to talk it. He walked it, okay? He walked it on a day-to-day basis. He truly is. Hey, I grew up, and he grew up, both of us from the Bay Area. We grew up watching one of the greatest of all time in Joe Montana play the position. And Tom, from the standpoint of statistically, from the standpoint of winning, from the standpoint of just the overall accomplishments, has exceeded everyone. Everyone who's ever played the game of football at the highest of levels, he has exceeded. So he needs to be put right up there at the top, because no matter where he was, as he proved last year in Tampa, whether it was the New England Patriots for 20 seasons or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 2 seasons, he can lead anyone to the title game. Now, He knows he can't do it alone. He had to have the necessary pieces in place. But what he does in the locker room, off the field, on the field, is he inspires greatness by what he represents himself. By representing greatness himself in all his actions, what he does in taking care of his body, how he prepares mentally, physically, all those things basically translate to everybody else and how they want to pick up their own game. And that's what great leaders do. They represent it, they walk it, they don't necessarily need to talk it, but when he talks, people listen. And for that, hey, he's going to be missed. I'm sure there are a lot of NFL teams and players that are happy that he's no longer on the other side of the field, and they wish him all the best. And he did it for so long, and he had such greatness at it. Consistency, week in and week out, year in and year out, never had a losing season, always was in the mix, always was a talked about team and player as to the potential of winning a championship. And to maintain that for the level that he did, for the years that he did, is truly awesome. We won't see that again. Now, there are some young players that are very capable, but how long will they last? Can they last beyond 10 years? Can they stay consistent for 10 plus years? He did it for what, 22 years?
Yeah.
That's amazing. He put 2 careers together. Most people dream of having an 11-year career in the NFL. He put 2 of them together. That's amazing.
You were talking about him going to Tampa last year. It's been put out there. He really wanted to come home. He wanted to play for the 49ers, and they chose Jimmy G over him because Jimmy just took him to the Super Bowl. Do you think they made a mistake? Like, you never know if they win the Super Bowl like the Bucs. No one knows. But do you think they made the mistake, or do you think they made the right decision sticking with Jimmy? Obviously, he took them to the NFC Championship game, and they were about 10 minutes away from going to the Super Bowl. So what's your opinion on that?
Can we completely rule out that Tom may not end there somehow, some way? I mean, is it possible still? I don't know. I don't know the rules and regulations. Is it possible that he could still end up that could be the fuel to reignite his fire one more year?
Tom, you watching this interview?
What's that?
Tom, you watching it right now? He's hearing this.
But let me say this about where the 49ers were at, okay? They won a lot of games under Jimmy Garoppolo.
Absolutely.
Was it all because of Jimmy? Maybe not. But maybe there's something about Jimmy on the field, just like Tom, that inspires others, that he's a great teammate, that his teammates want to play at the highest level for him. Not that they shouldn't do that for themselves, but he just raises the expectation a little bit higher. They went to 2 NFC championship games in the last 3 seasons, went to a Super Bowl. Both Super Bowl and NFC championship game this year, they're up 10 in the 4th quarter. Now, there's failure there in the 4th quarter. You couldn't stop, the gunslinging Mahomes from KC in that 4th quarter in the Super Bowl. And you struggled to stop the Rams in the 4th quarter this past weekend. And you didn't do what you needed to do on the offense side of the ball. Control the ball, get points on the board. That being said, whenever the Niners put somebody else in at quarterback during the time that Jimmy has been with the 49ers, man, they looked bad. They struggled to win football games. And granted, those guys were backups, but you're only as good as your last player on the roster, right? And who knows how they'll be with Trey Lance, whether Trey Lance is ready to take on that opportunity or not. I think they do need to get somebody else who can push Trey, who Trey can still continue to learn from, and who he can grow through. Now, was it a mistake that 2 years ago there was Tom, who was accessible and would have loved to have finished in San Francisco? You know, that's for the decision makers to dwell over. The GMs, ownership, management, all those things. I think when Jimmy's been healthy, and granted, hey, he was playing with a bad thumb, but everybody's playing with injuries. So there are going to be no excuses, okay? But that being said, would the outcomes been different the last 2 seasons? Who knows? would the offense have to change a little bit because of how Tom plays the game as compared to what Kyle Shanahan likes to have in the West Coast system? Maybe a little bit. I think Kyle could have adapted, and I think that would have been an adaptation that he would have loved to have had, to be challenged as a coach in saying, here's Tom Brady. How can I make this the best opportunity possible? And I'm not ruling it out, man. Just because he says he's tired of the situation in the sense of being able to give his 100% every single day. Sometimes the older we get, the less patient we are, and we just need a quick fix, meaning a different location to rejuvenate ourselves. And maybe that's what's needed, a rejuvenation on the other coast in the sunshine.
Would that be who is your top 10 quarterback of all time?
My top, how many? Ant, you want my top what?
10.
Top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Oh, wow, man. Well, you know,
Don't have to put them in particular order either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put Tom at the top. Hey, he's done everything, right? He's won all the championships. He holds all the records. I'm going to put Joe right behind Tom because his style of play, what he did on the field, his expertise as a quarterback was just truly awesome. And he had a great coach in Bill Walsh, and the invention and the growth of the West Coast system. You know, I think obviously Peyton is probably in there. I think Drew Brees is in that mix. Now, when we go old school, you got to remember now, rules have evolved and changed in the National Football League to where it almost, and I'm not saying it makes it easier, but it's catered to the offense. Okay, they want to see points. They want to see yards. They want to see touchdown passes. So the quarterbacks can't get hit like they used to. The receivers can't get banged around like they used to. They don't fear as much of going over the middle because the fines that could take place, even though they still get hit. So there are differences as compared to what the older generations had to play with, where receivers were mauled, quarterbacks were mauled, and you had to fight through it, right? I think Dan Marino, even though he never won a Super Bowl, is up in that talk. Aaron Rodgers is going to be in that talk. Okay, that's what, 5 right there. I think that when you think about what a guy like Kurt Warner did, leading multiple teams to Super Bowls, even though he just won the one with the Rams, he led the Cardinals as well to a Super Bowl. Difficult to do. He did it with 2 teams. That's 6. Let's see. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing a lot of guys. You know, there are a lot of great quarterbacks out there that deserve the recognition. I think Steve Young, when he took over for Joe Montana, he had some greatness to him. I think, you know, your guy in Philly, even though he never won a Super Bowl, Donovan McNabb, he led that team to 4 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl appearance. Yeah. That's great, man. It's tough to get to those NFC championship games. He did it. Warren Moon, another guy, never won a title game, but had greatness on the field. He's a Hall of Famer. Jim Kelly, never won a title game, but went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Hall of Famer, great player. I think those guys represented what it's all about, mental and physical toughness on the field, leading their teams to greatness. Now, they may not have always finished off as the number 1 team in the National Football League, but they had their team there consistently, right there in the mix. And if you can do that in this competitive of a league, you deserve that recognition. Another Philly guy, Randall Cunningham, was a game changer at his time playing in the league and what he brought to the game. And so I think, you know, there are some quarterbacks that may not always get that recognition, that Super Bowl or even Hall of Fame recognition, but were great. We're ahead of their time. We're top 2, 3, 4 at their time of playing in the game. And so those are just a handful of guys. Hey, I grew up watching Ken Stabler, man, the Snake, with the 70s and 80s Raiders. And man, to me, back in the day, he was a beast. He was a beast. He did whatever he took to help those Raiders win, and they were nasty. They were crazy. That's why people hated them.
Obviously, the Super Bowl matchup was set on Sunday. It's going to be Rams, Bengals. What's your thoughts on it, and who do you think's going to win?
Well, let me say this about what Sean McVay is doing in the National Football League. He is setting a pedigree and a lineage of coaches that are following his path, his footsteps, and going off now. Hey, Green Bay's head coach, Cincinnati's head coach. They were with McVay with the Rams. They may have been with him in Washington. Shanahan, they all come through this Shanahan program as well. There's a linkage there, right? Well, first of all, the Rams are a talented group of people on offense and on defense. They have star makers, star power all over the field. They can compete with anybody in the National Football League. It's about minimizing mistakes. If they can minimize the mistakes on offense through Stafford, create some sort of a running game, I think they're pretty darn good. But the Bengals are exciting, man. How can you not like the Cincinnati Bengals with Burrow and all of his weapons on offense? The running back is a stud. He played for my high school teammate, a great friend that I grew up with in my hometown of Gilroy, California, became the head coach and coached that young man, Nixon, back when he was in high school, and he's a stud. And on defense, they have some guys that can get after the quarterback. Hey, they did a great job last weekend of shutting down the Chiefs in the second half and giving themselves a chance to get back in that game and win that game. But man, they're fun to watch. I think, first of all, both teams have excitement on the offense side of the ball. If Cincy can keep Aaron Donald off your quarterback's back and Von Miller, which when you look at the past few weeks, hey, Tennessee got after Burrow, right? 9 sacks, I believe, in that game. Cincinnati needs to protect the quarterback better in this Super Bowl than they did against the Tennessee Titans, even though they won the game mainly because of the 3 turnovers from the Tennessee Titans. That being said, I think it's going to be a great game. I really like how Cincinnati plays. I just hope for, one of those all-time performances that everybody enjoys watching, kind of like what we saw a couple of weeks ago with Kansas City and Buffalo. I would like to see a little bit better defense, though, obviously.
When we look at the NFL as a whole, but can you imagine playing right now with the pandemic going on?
Can you help me with that,
Could
Matt?
you imagine playing right now during the pandemic?
Yeah, we're all dealing with it as America. We're all dealing with it as human beings living in this world, right? But I think what sports has done for people is given them normalcy and excitement, something to look forward to, something to take their minds off of the negativity that we're dealing with, the health issues that we're dealing with. I think had I been playing during this time, it really would have been all about trying to just show something that we're grateful to be able to have, that we're grateful for the fans to support, and we want to give back to them. We want to give them something positive to really be a part of, and to not allow themselves to fall into that daily regime of listening to the negativity, drinking the poison, so to speak, of what is being put out there as to the health issues, as to the pandemic, as to the vaccines, as to all these world problems that we're dealing with right now. But get back to, hey, this is life. This is how we're going to do our best to live life. in our happiest way. And if it means that we get to live through these athletes, men and women, through sport, let's do it. And athletes, give us something to be excited about, to cheer on, to be thankful for. Hey, right now we have the Winter Olympics going on, and so many athletes, great athletes from across the world, are competing on a stage where there aren't any fans. And that's difficult, man, because we do this for the fans. You talk about bringing energy into the stands and energy into the game. Fans do that, man. Fans bring it. You talk about a few weeks ago, I took my kids to the Rams 49er game, the last regular season game. And it was a sea of red in that stadium. You don't think the 49ers weren't energized by being in a an away venue, but having a home feeling? That was awesome for them. And that's what happens when the fans are involved and a part of sport. It raises the level of play of each of those individual players on the court, on the field, whatever arena they're playing in. It helps, man. We love having the fans being a part of what we do because it inspires us as much as we inspire them.
Would that mean, is there a player that reminds you of yourself or you were in the league?
I think there are a couple young players that I've been compared to. I think more than anything, I was maybe a little ahead of my game. I think if I was coming out of college now, maybe I'd be drafted. Might be a 7th round, but I might be drafted this year because of my abilities and because people aren't so concerned about your size factor, right? When I was coming out of college, everybody wanted the next Troy Aikman, 6'4", Troy Aikman, my man. And Troy Aikman, I should have mentioned, you know what? Roger Staubach, there's a great quarterback. There's a great quarterback that I have tremendous respect for and loved what he did on the football field. But same with Troy Aikman, great player. But everybody wanted Troy Aikman. They wanted 6'4", 230, that pocket passer. I'm 6 foot, 6'1", 190 pounds, soaking wet. I wasn't the prototype. But when you look at today's game, they're less concerned with that. They're more concerned with what it should be. Hey, decision-making, accuracy, ability to play from within and outside the pocket. I look at one player right now, and I think he's got some great years ahead of him. That's Baker Mayfield. I think he plays with a chip on his shoulder. I think he has the ability to extend plays and play outside the pocket. I think that he's a leader. I think that he had to struggle this year and go through some struggles because physically he wasn't quite there. The team went through some injury issues. That being said, I think that he's going to compete his ass off for his organization. And people need to believe in that. And I think he's going to continue to grow and get better. He's still young. But I think that's a quarterback that I think there's some similarities between him and I. As far as some of the great quarterbacks that are doing what they do today, there's some exceptional athletes. When you talk about Patrick Mahomes and you talk about Josh Allen, that matchup a couple weeks ago was incredible, right? What those quarterbacks did on the field was lights out. It was like playing Madden. It was like me watching my kids play Madden. It was unbelievable. Man, it's like, where's the defense at? These guys are breaking tackles. They're running for first downs. They're scrambling. They're throwing touchdowns. They're throwing laser strikes 30 yards down the field for touchdowns. Amazing. And so, there's some great young players. And, are there some guys that kind of resemble my style? I think I named one, but you know what? Hey, we're all our own people. We all do it our own way. And what it comes down to is, as a player, we try to do the best that we can in leading the team to victories. One guy that I have to give respect to, and he's in Philly right now, and my boy loves him, is Gardner Minshew. That guy is a winner as well. That guy will do anything he can to help a team win. And he's a guy kind of like me that doesn't get really the respect or the appreciation. for doing what he does. But when he steps on the field, players play better. The team looks better. They're productive. And I'm not taking anything away from Hurts. I think Hurts has talent and can be a great quarterback himself. He just needs time. But with what Gardner did in Jacksonville, they minimized and didn't appreciate. And now he's out there again, proving himself over again.
Where do you think Jimmy G's going to be going?
I heard, I don't chime in or listen into many things, I should say. But, when you look at teams that are going to need players to step in, hey, Tampa could be one of those teams, right? Tampa is going to need a quarterback. The GOAT just retired, and it's probably a similar style of system that Jimmy can run. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback that has a team that the importance is, where are the teams right now? How are they built? Are they built to win? Do they have coaching staffs in place that bring consistency? Both those organizations do, in Tampa and in Pittsburgh. Those could be good places for Jimmy, because it's not like you're starting over with a team that is struggling and having to go through a lot of growing pains. They're already pretty much there. They just need that piece to step in. And I don't know if those teams will be looking at him, but I think those two teams are a fit for needing a veteran quarterback to step in who can lead and who can win.
I can go back a little bit. The 49ers, they got so far. But what do you think they were missing, or anything at all?
Yes. Well, I think what it comes down to is there are 150 plays in a game when you count special teams, offense, and defense all together, right? But one or two of those plays can become critical factors in a game. And when you look at last weekend's game, Sunday, there were some missed opportunities, obviously, and missed opportunities that didn't happen because players aren't given 100%. It's just they didn't happen. Whether it's a throw to Kittle over the middle early in the game by Jimmy, you can't miss that opportunity. Hey, Tart knows that, hey, he had a chance to pick one off and it slipped out of his hands. That may have been a game changer. You never know. There was a moment on 3rd and 13 where the Rams executed great on a corner pass to Cooper Kupp. But were the 49ers in the right defense? That comes down to the defensive coordinator. So there's always revolving potential situations during games where players and coaches are going to walk away, depending on the result. Even when they win, they're going to self-critique and they're going to look at themselves and say, what could we have done better? I think from the standpoint of the 49ers, they've been so good at running the football and being able to build off of the run. Well, the Rams did a pretty darn good job of stopping the run and forced them to put the ball in the air. And that's where, hey, the quarterback needs to be on point, needs to make great decisions. It's got to be accurate with the football. It's got to be able to move a little bit when things break down around him. And so maybe that's the major question that the 49ers are dealing with right now. Do we have that guy who can step in and Trey Lance, or do we need another veteran who's going to help continue to groom Trey? And I don't think like letting Jimmy go or Jimmy going elsewhere is necessarily the right answer, because, hey, the proof is in the pudding. I don't care about passing yardage and touchdown passes and all those things. I care about wins and productivity as far as that's concerned. And the guy won a lot of games. You can't discount that when you look at his record with the 49ers and his record prior to coming to the 49ers. So that's a tough call for the 49ers to make that decision. And we as fans just kind of have to wait and see what happens.
Could you tell us, we were talking about it earlier before we came on here, the 2006 season with the Eagles. Before Nick Foles, you kind of had A.J. Feely in 02. You, Garcia Mania basically took over that time. You came in, I think it was against Tennessee when McNabb got hurt. Your first start was against the Colts.
Yep.
And then after that, you went on a win streak up until the Saints game. Can you tell us what that was like and how much Philly took you in? Because I know I was your biggest fan that whole run.
It was awesome, man. It truly was awesome. You know, I was there, a backup to Donovan McNabb. We had a great relationship as players on the team, quarterbacks in the quarterback room. He was a great leader for the team. And then the unfortunate injury happens against the Titans. I step in. We were losing that game. We lose that game. We go to Indy. We lose that game on the road. We come back home on a Monday night game against the Carolina Panthers. And it's a back and forth game. And we made some plays on offense. And then we get a big interception, I believe by Lito Shepherd. Big Lito Shepherd. And Keyshawn Johnson, I think, was running a fade route. And Lito picked it off in the end zone.
Right in the end zone.
End the game. And so that was the win at home. What was amazing was that it's rare that in the NFL that you will have 3 road games in a row, okay? Then to have all 3 games against division rival opponents. We went on the road to Washington and beat that ass. We went on the road to New York and the Giants on a Sunday night football game, and we beat that ass. And we went on the road. Sorry to ruin your Christmas, man. On Christmas Day in Dallas with T.O. and Romo, and we beat that ass. Merry Christmas, Philadelphia. And then came home to finish it off when at one point we were 5-6.
Yeah.
Came home to finish on a Sunday night game, New Year's Eve against the Atlanta Falcons. We beat Atlanta. We clinched the division. We get a home game against the New York Giants, which we beat them at home the next week and then went out to New Orleans in a loud, crazy, tough environment. And it was a back and forth game. And we had our opportunities, man, and it slipped out of our hands. But what a great game. They went on to lose to Chicago, who went on to the Super Bowl to lose to the Colts, right? That being said, what a year, man. What a memorable year. What a memorable run for me. I have the picture right here of the Sports Illustrated cover and the article in Sports Illustrated from that season. The 2007 Flying High, Jeff Garcia leads the Cinderella Eagles into wild card weekend, armed and dangerous. So a cool article that, you know, I get to reflect back on and just remember my time with the Eagle fans. Hey, let me be honest. It's love-hate, right? It's a love-hate relationship. If you're doing good, they love you. If you're not, hey, could be a lot of hate coming your way. But that being said, they're blue collar. And I think they saw me as one of them, a blue collar grinder that was physically and mentally tough, that was going to give his all on every single play, that was going to play bloodied, hurt, whatever. You'd have to like drag him off the field in order to get him out of there. And I think that that's what resonated with the Eagle fans and why they embraced me, on top of course, we were winning football games. They embraced me, and why I think there's always been that great relationship. I didn't want to leave Philly. It became a business decision by the Eagles, and it is what it is, and I had to move on, and I moved on to a good spot in Tampa and helped them win the NFC South division title that next season after they were a 4-12 team in 2006. So, you know, there was a purpose for it. There was a reason why I was in Philly, and I have such great memories of that 2006 season.
What was it like playing in the Canadian Football League? Because a lot of people don't really like look at that as a serious league, but it is. Like, a lot of great talent have came out of it.
Oh, there's talent, man. Not everybody can. There's not enough room in the NFL for all the great talent that comes out of college, for all the great talent that become free agents after a year or two in the NFL. Hey, it's a moving puzzle, right? And so to have that outlet, to have another league that gives you the opportunity, first of all, to do what you love to do. Okay. When I went to Canada, it wasn't because it was a high paying job. It wasn't that at all. It was to continue to do what I love doing, playing the game of football, to continue to be like a kid on the playground and go out and have passion and motivation and inspiration to be the best that I can be at something, to potentially achieve greatness as a team. Because whenever you win, whether it's a Super Bowl title, an NCAA title, a Grey Cup championship, high school championship, Pop Warner championship, whenever you win, whenever you get to the pinnacle, the top of that level, whatever level you're at, that's collective team greatness. And that's what we strive for as players, as being part of a team. And for me to go to Canada, have that opportunity to play, to learn from a guy like Doug Flutie, who was one of the greatest to ever play the game up in the CFL, and then to take over, to lead that team to a Grey Cup title in '98, and to feel that with the fans, with my teammates, with the organization, it's awesome. That'll be an experience that lives with me forever. The game is different. People should check it out. It's fun to watch. It's just got some different rules and regulations that would probably make people who watch the American game and then watch the CFL game go, what the hell's going on out there? Why are the receivers running full speed toward the line of scrimmage? How big is that field? Gosh, it looks huge. And why do they have one less down to get a first down? You know, so there's some craziness to it, but it was a blast, man. The teammates, the friendships, the relationships that I made in Calgary and through the organization still live with me today.
Did you get a chance to play against Dwayne Johnson while you were up there, or did you miss?
He was my teammate.
Oh.
Dwayne and I, The Rock and I came in as rookies together. 1994, man. And we would hang out after games, go have some drinks. The Rock was just Dwayne. He was just DJ. He was just a normal dude trying to find his way. And you know what? I'm so happy for that guy. I mean, he has truly done awesome for not only himself, but for millions of people that he has been able to touch their lives, improve their lives in some sort of way, give back to people. He has a stage that he uses in a positive way and encourages people, encourages greatness. He lives by that motto. And so, yes, we were teammates, man.
Did you see that? Did you see him being who he is now back then? Could you see that in him?
No. I mean, he had a good sense of humor. He was a personable guy. I didn't foresee what he would have been. Otherwise, I would have asked to be his manager back then. Wayne, you know what? Let me be your manager because, hey, we're going to do some great things with you. So, hey, I didn't foresee that, man, but good for him. Good for him, and so happy for him. And truly, you know, from what I know about Dwayne, from what I know about The Rock, I mean, he in my presence, my experience, he was a humble man, okay? He was a man who wanted to do right. He was not a snake in the grass. He was not somebody who wanted to take advantage of people. He wanted to work hard, dedicate himself to something that was important to him, and be the best that he could be at it. And that's what he did. He became that in WWE. He's become that in TV and cinema, and he's become that in his endeavors outside of those arenas, his business life, in what he does professionally.
You know, you look at Rock and see everything that he's done. Do you see yourself maybe doing something like that? Well, you know, maybe you can have your own TV show, maybe you can, I don't know.
Yeah, I always think about just how could I touch people's lives in a positive way, right? And I think the biggest thing about what happened in this past week is that really doesn't how can I say it? That doesn't really deliver who I am as a person. Okay? I live my life to do positive things. I want to encourage people. I want to believe in people. I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great, just a great friend to people, a great son to my parents, a great brother to my sisters. That's what I try to preach. That's what I try to live. I want to live in a positive frame of mind. I don't want to be brought down by negativity. What sparked last week for me was not a positive thing. I don't care if it led to, hey, more followers on social media, more hate on social media or in the public or on the radio or in TV. That's not what I want to represent. It's not who I want to be. What The Rock does, we all wish that we can do in the sense of giving back and inspiring people. And maybe I can't inspire 1,000 people a day or 1 million people a day like Dwayne Johnson does. But if I can lift the spirits up of one person, 5 people, 10 people, I want to be able to be that guy. I want to be able to do that for people. And, as athletes, we do have a stage to be able to do that. Some stages are bigger. Some people want to hate on me and say, who are you? We don't care about you. You're a has-been. You were an average this. You were not even that. You're not even a Super Bowl. Oh, so-and-so one has been to as many Super Bowls as you. 0. And I'm like, you know what? Doesn't matter. Hey, when I was out there on the field, I gave everything and anything to my team, which was the most important people to me, to do what we could do in order to be successful. In my life now, I do whatever I can for my children and the people that I surround myself with, my circle, to be the best that I can be. And if I can influence others in a positive way outside of that circle, awesome. Awesome. What you got, Ant?
You think all the hate that you're getting at the moment, does it motivate you in a way?
Here's the thing. I'm always motivated, okay? I'm a self-motivated guy. When I was playing the game, of course, there were things that fueled my fire, right? Hey, doubters, haters, negativity, as much as you don't want to listen to it, it's out there. And it may be the small percentage of people. There may be 99% of people that love you and 1% who want to just cast stones at you. And as athletes, we pick and choose what we want to help motivate us, right? But first and foremost, you got to be self-motivated. In order to achieve greatness in life, it's got to come from within. You got to have that personal desire to want to go out and be the best. Be the best you, okay? For Tom Brady, being the best him ended up being the best ever, okay? That's not going to happen for everyone. But if you can be the best you and motivate yourself and inspire yourself to do the right things in life, to take a step in the right direction on a daily basis, people are going to see that. And you're going to be like a ray of light to people. And that's where I want to be. I don't want to fester in that darkness that happened a week ago. I want to be a ray of light to people. And it may be just my kids. It may be just, hey, the young people that I coach in Pop Warner or basketball. But if I can impact them and then they can impact others, hey, it's a chain of positivity that's moving forward, right? It's a connection that you're creating within people that is creating happiness, that's creating positivity, that's putting a smile on someone's face. Especially during this time when we have so many issues with the pandemic, with businesses closing down, with people losing jobs, with emotional instability based upon children not having normalcy in their life that they need to overcome. And what you've overcome, my man, in being in front of the camera and interviewing people and being just an awesome inspiration. Part of why, I'm going to be honest, I did this interview because of you, my man, because I love that you're putting yourself out there, that you're confident in who you are, that you're overcoming everything that you've had to battle throughout. Nobody knows what you've had to go through in your life. And you have a smile and a ray of light that comes off of you that just ignites, man. Like, I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by you. You know, and I've never watched your show, but I'm sitting here talking to you and answering your questions. And I love it, man. I love you. I love you for being who you are, for being a motivator, for being an inspiration, for being a lover, for being a guy that just wants to, hey, be a part of something that's special and bring happiness. Bring happiness, and that's you, Ant-Man. You're the man, dude.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying all that, because that means a lot from a guy like you, and see everything that you become. So with that being said, you went back to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady, what would you think if you would have won one more Super Bowl? Was that one of changed his whole perspective on you or on the fan itself?
I think you asked me if I would have won a Super Bowl.
I know if
Yeah.
Tom Brady would have won the Super Bowl this year,
What about
that
it?
had changed like his perspective on basically not just you but everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so. I think if he would have won one more Super Bowl, even a better way to go out, right? To go out even more so on top than he already is. But hey, he believes in himself. He knows what he's achieved in this career. And so I don't think that would have made any more of it. If anything, the fact that he didn't get there and how he's wired, you would have thought, oh, he's going to give it one more year. But you also have to understand, it's a grind, man. It is a grind. I'll share one story quickly. I was 39 years old. In 2007, we won the NFC South Division with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I went to the Pro Bowl. We ended up losing to the Giants in the first round of the playoffs. Our season ended. 2008, we were right in the mix again. We were 9-3. 9-3 with 4 games left in the season. And I gave Philadelphia fans a Christmas gift because we lost all 4 games as a team, and the Eagles got into the playoffs that year. All we had to do was win 1 game of those 4, and we would have been in the playoffs. I became a free agent. They fired John Gruden. They fired the general manager there in Tampa. I became a free agent. I'm 39 years old, and I still am a starting quarterback, I feel. I feel like I could still play at a high level. I was a starter for the last 2 seasons for a team that, hey, won a lot of games, went to the Pro Bowl, went to the playoffs. I had one team, only one team that showed any interest in me, and that was the Oakland Raiders. I went to the Oakland Raiders. I signed with the Oakland Raiders. At the time, I had been married just 2 years. I had a baby girl. We had a baby boy on the way. 2 young kids at home, and I was starting this season with the Raiders, backing up Jamarcus Russell, backing up a guy who really didn't care about what was going on with the team because he didn't care about himself. He came in weighing 300 plus pounds to training camp. He wasn't quite doing the things necessary to be a leader on the team. And that's not trying to discount Jamarcus, but this was his 3rd season in the National Football League. He was the #1 pick by the Raiders. It ended up being his last season in the National Football League.
Yeah.
I struggled backing up a guy who was not taking the bull by the horns, so to speak, and running with it and being the guy that he needed to be for the rest of that team. And so my decision at that time at 39, I wasn't hungry like I was at 30 or 29 or 27 or even 34. I wasn't hungry like I needed to keep proving myself. I actually was tired of it in the sense. I wanted to be the starter, of course. I wanted to battle. I wanted to be the leader on that team. But for whatever reason, this organization wasn't going to let me be that guy. And so I asked at the end of training camp, I said, you know what? If I'm going to be with the team, then let me be with the team that has a chance to win. Because right now, the Raiders are not in a good situation. They have a quarterback that's not leading by example. And it's going to be a struggle. And did I want to? Was that a difficult decision? It absolutely was. I kicked myself in the butt every single day for a year because it really ended up being the end of my career. And I felt like I still had so much more to offer. I went to Philly for 2 weeks because McNabb had a rib injury, but they had Michael Vick and they had a young guy, Cobb, right? Kevin Cobb. Yeah. And so I was the guy once Donovan came back that was asked to go back home. And I went back home and I was angry. I was not happy.
Did you go to the UFL too?
The next year I did. The next year I did. You know, it was like, I'm 40. I'm still loving football, the game of football. I still want to play the game of football. And I basically took any opportunity to get back to playing the game of football. And, you know, hey, it was what it was at the time. But I feel like I could have been that guy playing. I could have been one of those guys playing into his 40s because I took care of myself. Hey, I stayed in good shape. I was mentally healthy. I still wanted to lead and contribute and be a great teammate. And unfortunately, I made that decision to, hey, take myself out. And, you know, things came to an end. But I could look back and say, you know what? I gave everything that I had to give. I tried to be the best that I could be in any given situation that I was put in. And I feel like I proved a lot of people wrong. Believe me, coming out of high school, nobody would have ever thought that I'd be a great college player or a CFL player or an NFL player. Nobody, maybe not even myself. But what I did was every day I tried to be the best me. And that's all you can ask of yourself.
My final question for you is, I know your ex-wife was the Playmate of the Year in 2003. I don't know if you had a chance to watch, but there's the show Secrets of Playboy just came out. I want to give you, what was your honest opinion on Hugh Hefner? I know everyone has different opinions right now coming out. I know you were around him a little bit. I saw it on the Girls Next Door. Can you give us your honest opinion on Hugh Hefner?
You like this question, and you told him to ask this question, didn't you? Hey, first and foremost, Carmela is an unbelievable woman. She's the best mom. She has more love for our children than anybody. I mean, outside of my own mom loving me, and that's all we know. You know, I'm going to speak for my own mom. I'm going to speak for Carmela, who was my wife and who's the mother of our children, and who actually, her and I are best of friends, raising children together. And that's what's most important. Hugh Hefner, I met a couple times, right? And let me say this about Hugh. I don't know that whole world, but I will know this, that he gave a lot of women a tremendous opportunity through the magazine to showcase their beauty in however it was portrayed, okay? I don't know the deep, dark secrets. When I met Hugh, he seemed like a very nice guy, a very engaging guy, and a guy that opened his home up to just about anyone, as long as you did not take advantage of it or betray him in some sort of way, he was going to allow you to come and have dinner on Sundays, watch movies with him and the girls and his friends. And he had parties that people dreamed of going to and being a part of. And so is it a different world? Absolutely, it's a different world. Do some people dream of being a part of that world? Yeah, I'm sure there are. I only know what I know because, yes, my wife was a Playmate of the Year. And when I met Carmela, I'll be honest, I didn't know she had posed for Playboy. I had no idea. I was new to Cleveland. I saw this beautiful young woman walk into this bar that I was at with some teammates. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know there were Latin girls in Cleveland, Ohio. How about that? Look at her. And I tried to talk to her and she shot me down. She didn't even, I'm asking her for a number and she's like, I'm not giving you my number. And I had no idea she was a Playmate. It was afterwards that I found out. But that being said, it had no impact on my interest in her and what we developed and what we created together and our relationship today, which is probably better than ever, as a matter of fact. And, we are headed to Vegas for the Pro Bowl weekend, and it's a family affair, man. Carmela's going. My 4 kids are going. I'm going. Some other friends are going. We're going as one happy family, and that's, how it should be. Hey, we put our differences aside. We realize that, hey, marriage is a tough thing, and it doesn't work for everyone. I have parents who've been married 55 years, who've gone through the ultimate tragedies and storms that anyone should or could ever go through. I would never want what my parents have gone through for any family to go through. Losing children at a young age, having to deal with that, what that did to the family and the dynamics of the family. But they've stuck together. They've held it together. They love each other probably more today than they ever have. And that's where Carmela and I are at. Hey, marriage doesn't work for everyone. Not able to keep it together or whatever, but at the end of the day, we have 4 children that keep us together. And we have a great relationship, a respectful relationship, and a love for one another that will always be there.
I have 2 more questions.
2 more questions, yeah.
You mentioned your kids. When you come here to your kids look at you and, somebody that they would want to be maybe in the NFL or maybe playing basketball.
Are you talking about my kids and what they want, like seeing their dad as an NFL quarterback and what that means to them and their life is what they want to be in their future. And they talk about it, right? They talk about, because they don't know any better, right? They know that their dad was a pro athlete. They have a couple friends in the area that we live in because people retire down here. I live in North San Diego. So they have buddies that they go to school with whose dads were Major League Baseball players. At one time, Phillip Rivers' boy was in my son's class. So they had Phillip Rivers to kind of look up to. So they kind of live in a little bit of a fantasy world, right? And my main thing with them is that, first of all, I'm going to encourage them to play sports because I know what playing sports means to a person and the ability to be a teammate, the ability to have work ethic, drive, dedication towards something, responsibility, respect toward a game. Sports teaches us so many great values that can be taken later in life, right? Now, they're 11 and 12 years old, my boys, and they talk about playing professional football. And I say a little bit like, hold on, big guy. Let's be the best that we can be right now, okay? Let's be the best that we can be right now. You don't quite understand what it is to have a true hunger and desire for something. And this is what we're trying to teach them, but it's not always easy. They see so much through social media, through TV, through all kinds of different elements of exposure and influence that makes them believe that they can just be a star without putting the work into it. No matter what you do in life, you have to be willing to work at it. Okay. First and foremost, be the best Pop Warner player, be the best brother, be the best son, be the best teammate, student, classmate that you can be right now. Okay. Take one day at a time and be the best that you can be right now. As you grow and mature, you never know where you can take it. Okay. My daughters, the same thing. My oldest daughter wanted to play tackle football. And, it was hard for me to say no, only because it came down to a protection reason. Does she have ability? Is she fast? Can she catch the ball? She can do all those things. But size-wise, she's probably a half the size at 13 as some of these 13-year-old boys are, who've been playing football for 3-4 years now, who know how to hit and collision on the field. She doesn't know that world. She's played flag football. And I'm not going to expose her to that world. That's me as a dad. Does she know the game? Yeah, she knows the game. She's playing flag football right now. And I love it. I love that she wants to be a part of that. And I encourage her on that. But there are certain things as a parent that I'm also going to look out for her on and support her and also protect her with. And so, my kids, I do want them involved in sports because I know what it teaches them. Do I expect them to be great athletes? No. Do I want them to find a talent, whether it's being an artist, playing an instrument, being a straight A student, being a good athlete, being a great friend, all those things? Yes, I do want them to find something that they're passionate about, that motivates them, that inspires them. That's important to me and their mom. And so that's the main thing that I want to have influence over my children with.
Awesome. And go back to football, Amy, what is thought about that, and do you think you ever get a job again in the NFL?
Yeah, well, as we've seen over the last few years, and what we know in watching as a fan, that he is an incredible talent, right? Especially his years with the Steelers. The guy was phenomenal out there on the field. What we've seen over the last few years are some things that maybe show some internal struggles that he's dealing with personally. And we don't know his life off of the football field. We see what happens. We see what happened in that game in New York where he walks off the field. And as teammates to that, you never want to see where a player's distraction starts to take away from the team effort. And I think at that point, Tampa had to do what they had to do, right? In them being able to move forward as a team. And it was going to have to be without AB. Whether someone wants to give AB that shot down the road, that's on the organization. Whether he can be that great teammate and that great productive player on the field, that's on AB. That's got to be on him to want to be able to do that and want to be able to eliminate whatever distractions are going on in his own personal life or what he's dealing with. Or maybe he needs to just take time to do whatever he needs to do to make him happy, to make him better, to make him be a good father, a good person in his relationships and within his family. We don't know how he is. We don't know what's going on as far as, and we talk about mental health and the issues with mental health that spans beyond athletes. It's all over the world today. And it's starting younger than ever with children, anxiety, depression, all those things that our young people are dealing with. And what's the contributing factor? What is happening in our society that is contributing to these feelings, these emotions? Because I don't remember growing up with that. All I knew growing up was get outside and play. Find a game. Find some friends. Go find out what the neighbor is doing. Get on your bike. Go ride somewhere. Create something. Hey, hide and go seek. Hey, cops and robbers. Hey, cowboys and Indians. Whatever it was that you were playing at the time. Hey, 3 flies up. Hey, you created games. You went out and you played with your friends. You found something to interest you. You built forts. You created. It's different today, right? It's a different world that we live in today. There's so many more influences, and not all of them are positive. And so our kids, our children, our adults are dealing with different emotions, different issues. And so that's a concern. And I'm not saying this about AB in any sort of way, but he needs to figure it out for himself, what's important to him and whether he can be what he needs to be within a professional organization. And that would be a great teammate, a great contributor, and someone who's a positive influence. And if he can't be that guy, then organizations probably aren't going to take a chance on him.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, Jeff. It was an absolute honor for me and Ant to get to interview you. Where can we find you on socials? Do you have anything you want to promote? Shoot.
Man, hey, people know where to find me. It's Jeff Garcia QB5 on Instagram. I've had people find me that I don't want finding me. But hey, it is what it is. And really, that's all I have, man. I'm not one that's going to stay glued to a phone or to a tablet all day. I'm an active person. I'm not really doing anything outside of, hey, supporting my children in their sports, coaching their sports. At some point, my own charitable foundation. We've run camps in the past. We will get that going again. It's the Eyes Up Foundation. It's you can find it at jeffgarciafootball.com. And my whole thing right now is creating opportunity for our youth to play sports, to be active, to have positive influence, to be able to compete no matter what the situation is in their community, giving them access to sport opportunity and after school programs. That's what I want, man. I want our children to have a great opportunity to be a part of something special and have positive perspective on life and know that there are people out there that want the best for them and don't want to hold them down.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff Garcia, everyone.
You got it, guys. Great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.